Alright YouTubers, how you diddling? This is the Disposalist, and in this video I will be showing you a walkthrough how I did the second part of the Soissons Chateau based conflict dog tag Easter egg that was completed by the Battlefield Easter egg community. Now Donnie and the community completed this before I did, but I was one of the first, and so there wasn't a lot of information. I'm going to be folding more information that you can find that have been produced more recently, nicer solutions on the Battlefield Easter egg Discord site. You can find information there and on the Game Detectives wiki. I'm going to fold that in, but I'm going to show you the method that I use, because a lot of the more recent methods have shown use things like spectator mode with a friend and cutting this fountain into grids and all sorts of stuff that you can't really do on your own. I did it solo and a lot of people will be, so hopefully this will be helpful to you. But if you need more information, as I say, go to the Battlefield Easter egg community Discord or the Games Detectives wiki, etc. So for now, what I'm going to show you is what happens after the candelabra part, which is in another video. I did actually work out the solution for that, and again you can find it all in the usual places. After you've lit all the lights on the candelabra, what happens is some sandbags, these little pouches, appear on the steps of the fountain outside, and the location of those bags dictate the lights that you need to light up using the next part. Now what's happened, much like the previous one, when you shot out all the lights the candelabra became active. Once you light all the candelabra, these pillars outside become active. There's 8 on this side and 8 on the other side of the chateau, and if I just show you my spreadsheet, you can see I letter them A to H on this side, I to P on the other. It doesn't matter what you number or letter them, it'll be used later, but those are the locations, 8 on each side. And when you click a pair of those, if they are a row and a column, not both rows or both columns, and it is random, then it will light up a square in this section of the flooring inside, like a chessboard, like a dance floor lighting up, but in a chessboard black and white 8 by 8 section. And this orientation that I'm looking at it right now, I'm facing kind of west, that will match the pattern of the bags in this orientation, looking at it from the chateau. So these steps are the bottom, those steps are the top of the chessboard, the dance floor that we're going to light up. So if I now move over to this section, this is the way I work this out. Now these bottom 2 steps, I say I worked this out, the Battlefield community, Donnie, etc. worked out how this maps exactly. But I'm going to explain it to you now and how I did it. So the bottom 2 steps here, they correspond to the inner 4 squares of the chessboard. The next 2 steps up are, and the next 2 steps up and the next 2 steps up are the concentric squares moving outwards. It's better if I show you that in my Excel sheet. So the inner 2 squares, which is the base of the fountain, in fact the gravel here, and the bottom step, that corresponds to those there. And I've made a little diagram here to show this. This is exactly what I'm looking at here. So the gravel and the bottom step are the 4 blue squares here. The next 2 steps up are split into 6, but the very corner and these 2 sections, they correspond to the yellow row here. And of course the other sides of these yellow rows. But those 2 steps and the next 2 steps up, the green split into 6 of course are here, and obviously the very top steps, although I think nothing sits on the very top steps, but these top 2 we're saying is the red section split into 8, which of course give you this very top section. And this is the very one we're looking at. We've got a couple on we've got one on the bottom and a couple on the next 2 up, and how that's going to correspond in my sheet, I'm going to make notes of the pattern I'm going to need to make. So what that corresponds to, oh, I haven't put a circle on this one, so that's handy. So this very bottom one, this is in this right quadrant of the blue, so I'm going to put one there. This next step up, very corner, and the next one over, so we're seeing that there and there. And in this orientation we have nothing on the next step up. I'm actually going to flip around and do what is the bottom. I have to centralize myself using the fountain and then turn around and look at it. I've also done this in a screenshot just to make it clear to you again. That was the top. So this is now the bottom that I'm looking at. So we've got sandbags here and here, and that will be the left, not the far left corner, but the left 2. And of course we're looking back towards the chateau here, so the left 2 are this and this. And we have almost to the corner on the right also, so that will be this one. On the green we have just to the right, which of course looking in the other direction will mean it's just to the left. On the yellow we have one on the far left in the corner, and the far left looking that way of course will be there. So now I'm going to have to do the next 2 steps rather manually because I haven't done examples of these, but this is how I had to do it the first time my way around. So what we're seeing here on the very bottom 2, there's nothing. The next one up, we already plotted that one. Of course we share corners on the sides, but what we're seeing here, this is the center, and these next 2 steps up are split into 4. These here. So of course we're looking to the left side now, orientation wise. So what we're seeing is one. We're not seeing one in the corner, we're seeing one slightly to the right on that side. If it's slightly to the right on that level, it's there. Then the next 2 steps up, this is split into 6. This is obviously the green section. We're seeing one slightly to the right, and we're seeing one almost in the corner. So as we look at it, one slightly to the right, one almost in the corner but not. And that is everything for those steps. And on the other side, which is the right hand side, as we look at it, center myself here, look over to the right. We've got one in the very bottom quadrant, but we already did that when we were doing the top. We've got one in the very corner. We already did that again. And there's nothing else on the yellow level. There's nothing on the green level. There's one on the red level, and this is a bit of a tricky position though. This is the middle, and the very corner is there, and the other part, this is split into 3 from here to here. So this is a bit of a tricky one. I'm thinking that's in the middle of the left hand 3. So I'm looking at, remember I'm looking out here. So it's the right hand side. I'm thinking it's there. But I'm going to need to remember that if this doesn't work, then perhaps I should try this in those 2 positions. And I did have to do this when I worked through this the first time round. So now the next thing to do, now I've plotted those, is to work out the coordinate system for the pillars corresponding to the dance floor. So, as I mentioned earlier, we now have clickable pillars, and these correspond to points on the dance floor. So what I'm going to do, looking at my spreadsheet, is I am going to click on those pillars and then plot where on the dance floor they appear and slowly work out what the coordinate system is. See, I've labelled them A to H and I to P, but it doesn't matter, it's just a matter of getting that coordinate system mapped. So I'm going to click column A and column B. Obviously if they're both rows or both columns, nothing will appear on the dance floor, but we have something. Now I've already marked this out, I've put bullet holes in here, but you know the bottom row of the dance floor is the one above where this corner cuts into it, and the right hand row is the one where this corner next to the corner cutting into it. So you know that that's the bottom and that's the right, and it's an 8 by 8 square, so you can see where it is. So this is on the bottom row, and it is 2 from the right. That was A, B. So on the bottom row, 2 from the right, that was A, B. Now I don't know which is a row and which is a column, but I'll fill that in just for now. It might switch around. So what I'm going to try next is B and C, and we'll see what we get. Okay, we have another one, 3 over from there. That is B and C. So B was in both. That would indicate that actually B is that row. So that was AB and that was BC. So now we know 2 columns and 1 row. Excellent. So next I'm going to try, that was A, B, C. and we've got those on, so we may as well try D, E. D and E. And we do have a DE. It is on this right hand side. Yep. So again, I don't know whether that's row or column to begin with. So what I'm going to do is I'll do DB, and that should, well, and if that works, it means that I've done things correctly. So D and B. And yes, looks like I've done things correctly, because D, B must be that one there. Okay, so we have A, B, C, D and E. F, C, D, D. So I'm going to try F and G. F and G, and see what we get. Nothing. So F and G must be on the same side. Now, there's a complication here. When you try a pair and they don't work, the second one is remembered as the first of your next pair. So I've effectively pressed G, so I'm going to try G and H. See what happens. Okay, and we have a winner. So G and H is there. Not sure which is row and column. So I'm going to try BH and see if I've got that right, otherwise it's the wrong way around. B. And H, just to verify. Has BH appeared on the bottom? No. No, it hasn't. Or has it? No, so we've got no BH, so that was wrong, so they must be the other way around. H and G, sorry, must be the other way around. So it's actually BG is what should fill that in, but remember we've got that problem with it remembering the second half, so I did BH, it will remember B, so if I press B again, that kind of gets rid of that, so I want to try B. I guess that will fail, it remember B, and what am I trying? B and G. So H is there, B and G. And hopefully that'll fill in another one on the bottom, matching B and G. It does. So now I can move around to the other side and see what we get. I'm going to try I and J. I and J. And see what we get. Looks like we've got something. Second over right at the top, I believe. Oh, not quite right at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need to move those boxes, don't I? So that is I and J, and I'm not sure which way around. So what I will do is try I and C and see if it puts it here. Turn that one off. Yeah, okay. I've got that one off, and I think I've got the coordinate system right. Just stop waffling now, David. So that one's supposed to be there. I'm going to turn off IC. So I C. That should be leaving 1 just there, not 2. It is. So we've got that one there. Yep, that's now gone. That's now gone. And I've got to turn off MN. I have it matching the pattern I've worked out from the bags, but it is not going off. Damn it. So I've spotted my error. The one on the right here on the second row, the yellow row, if I look here. Oh, no, that's the back. If I look here, this one on the yellow row, it's on the right, but we're looking at the bottom. So looking at the bottom on the right would be there. It's not over on the left hand side, it's on the right. Of course, when you're looking at the bottom, it's on the right. Which is the left, if you understand. So I'm going to try moving that one over, which will mean a CF and an NF. Maybe a C, E, F, and an F with an N. I, J, K, L, M, N. And there it goes. That was, in fact, correct. Spooky noises galore. And that, my friends, is the way you complete the conflict dog tag Easter egg. Thanks very much for watching. If you found this useful, give me a thumbs up, and please leave me some comments if you've got anything to say. I'd love to hear your comments. Other than that, see you next time, YouTubers. Cheers.